The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. There's a kind of daughter who stands out precisely by not standing out. She doesn't shout, doesn't demand, doesn't explode. She just adapts. From a very young age, she learned to read a room with surgical precision. The tension in her father's eyes, the exhaustion on her mother's face, the irritation hidden in a tone of voice. Like an emotional radar, she adjusts. She swallows frustration, puts on a smile. It's not that she doesn't feel. It's that she realized showing emotions openly only complicates things. Her sensitivity is mistaken for maturity, her restraint for balance. And then, without anyone saying it out loud, she understands it's safer to be pleasant than to be whole. This doesn't start with a single big trauma. There's no specific date to mark. It begins with subtle, seemingly harmless phrases. You're overreacting. Stop being so dramatic. You're too sensitive. And slowly, this girl learns that feeling too much is inconvenient and showing it even more so. Winnicott called this the false self, a version of the self built to protect the true one in environments where it wasn't welcome. It's not a lie, it's survival. She becomes an expert at sensing what others need and delivering exactly that. But this gift comes with a steep cost. She starts to vanish from herself. Her desires become guesses, her boundaries negotiable. Her presence must be useful to be allowed. The cruelest part, she's praised for it. She's so mature. She never causes trouble. But those compliments are golden bars. The mask becomes her identity. And the more she smiles, the more lost she feels. The question that echoes even in silence is, what happens when a girl is only loved as she disappears? You don't need to scream to vanish. Sometimes you just need to smile. The false self isn't born of conscious manipulation, but of early emotional intelligence, a survival mechanism. The child picks up on which parts of herself make others uncomfortable. The anger, the frustration, the liveliness. So she starts editing them. It wasn't a choice. It was calibration. Being likable became emotional safety. Winnicott described the false self as a protective layer, a shield between the real self and a world that can't hold it. It's not a disguise. It's functional adaptation. But over time, the adaptation becomes a prison. The girl who once avoided making others uncomfortable starts avoiding her own discomfort. She predicts others' needs before even feeling her own. She becomes the one who never complicates, who always understands. But at what cost? Gabor Mate describes this as the conflict between authenticity and attachment. Every child seeks two essential things: to be themselves and to be loved. When these needs clash, attachment wins. The child sacrifices authenticity to maintain love, because to the psyche, losing connection feels like dying. And so, the body remembers what the mind cannot voice. The good daughter becomes a specialist in not needing. She doesn't demand, doesn't disturb, doesn't cry, at least not in front of anyone. Her pain is silent, her needs disguised. She believes being light makes her lovable. And so she carries the weight of her own disappearance. Society, in turn, rewards her for it, praises her maturity, empathy, calmness, but those compliments come with conditions. Stay like this, your vanishing suits us. Being good becomes being less. Less intense, less messy, less real. Her authentic self is slowly silenced, not out of malice, but convenience. She doesn't lie. She just stops showing herself. Until one day, she no longer knows if she smiles from choice or habit, but the body speaks. And when we don't speak for ourselves, the body does. On the outside, she seems fine, calm, functional, in control. But inside, something grinds. She wakes up tired. Her mind is heavy. Her sleep shallow. There's no specific trauma to explain the discomfort. And that's what makes it more confusing. The body is the unconscious made flesh. Psychosomatic medicine has shown repressed emotions don't disappear. They lodge themselves in tight muscles, shallow breathing, digestive issues, weakened immunity. The body files away what the mind couldn't process. Judith Herman talks about the betrayal of body memory, how the body remembers what the emotions had to forget. The daughter who couldn't express anger gets chronic migraines. The one who was always sweet has panic attacks in seemingly safe places, not because she's dramatic, but because her nervous system never switched off. From an early age, she learned to scan for danger, faces, tones, shifts. Hypervigilance became her default, and when the world goes quiet, her body panics, because external peace never meant internal safety. The body stores what the voice represses. This isn't just poetic, it's biological. A child who learns that feeling is a threat doesn't just adapt emotionally. Her entire physiology reshapes itself for silence. Expressing emotions stops being natural. It becomes dangerous. To cry, to say no, to show frustration, all trigger an invisible alarm. If I show what I feel, I might lose love. So the body silences itself. But silence here is just tension building. She doesn't explode. She implodes. And her body, once a home, becomes a prison. Every adaptation tells us something about the environment in which it was born. If so many women learned to mute their wants, frustrations, even their gifts, we must ask, who benefited? The daughter who doesn't complain, who doesn't push back, becomes convenient. She keeps the family peace, helps school run smoothly, thrives in work environments. But that ease is built on the burial of her truth. At the heart of it lies conditional love, love that's earned. From early on, the daughter sees she's more accepted when she pleases, more valued when she gives in, more praised when she sacrifices. That love doesn't see her, it uses her. She becomes a mirror for others' needs, not a channel for her own. Patriarchal culture reinforces this template everywhere, in books, fairy tales, TV shows. The ideal woman is passive, beautiful, understanding. The good girl is rewarded with love. The one who dares to be whole is labeled dramatic, difficult, unstable in Jungian psychology. This ties to collective feminine archetypes. Maria-Louise Wong-Franz described the pure, submissive, sweet, emotionally controlled maiden as an idealized but incomplete version of femininity. Individuation, becoming whole, requires shattering that image. It means facing the social discomfort that comes with being real instead of nice. In a world that demands submission, being yourself is seen as selfish. The good girl doesn't vanish alone. She's trained, praised, and kept invisible by systems that can't handle women who say no, take up space, or don't explain their existence. When she starts to wake up, the world acts like something's wrong. But what's wrong is the lie that she must vanish to be loved. So what do you do when being yourself means risking that love? That's the invisible wound at the heart of the good daughter. She didn't disappear because she wanted to. She disappeared to belong. And the more she was praised for fading, the harder it became to come back. Sartre reminds us we're shaped by how others see us. But what happens when that gaze demands we cut off essential parts of who we are? Then arises the central paradox. If I'm truly myself, I risk rejection. But if I mold myself to be accepted, I'm no longer me. Kierkegaard would call this silent despair, the condition of living as a reflection, rather the good. Daughter becomes a master of social reading. But what looks like empathy is often fear. Fear of rupture, fear of judgment, fear of being alone. In this world, authenticity isn't just difficult, it's dangerous. It unbalances relationships, threatens harmony, exposes unspoken rules. Being real means accepting that not everyone will approve. And so, many keep being likable, even as they feel lost. That's the blind spot of the easy woman compliment. She's not complicated because she learned clarity makes people uncomfortable. She doesn't ask because she learned needs our weakness. She doesn't react because she learned showing pain is too much, but the absence of conflict isn't. Peace. It's a quiet deal. I'll disappear a little, and you'll love me for it. The paradox of the good daughter is, in essence, an existential tragedy. She learns to be everything for everyone except herself. And the earlier she learns this, the harder it is to question. Because now she can't tell if the love she gets is for who she is or who she became. Then comes a moment, sometimes small, sometimes shattering. It's not rage or rebellion, it's recognition. She realizes that while her life functions on the outside, inside, it's vacant. She checks the boxes, replies to messages, takes care of others, but at the end of the day, no one seems to take care of her. Not even herself. She's forgotten how. That's the turning point. A life built on adaptation can no longer bear the weight of silence. Her body tires, her mind drifts. And then the question that's always been there returns with urgency. Who am I when I'm not trying to please anyone? In Jungian psychology, this is the call to individuation, the process of becoming fully, wholly yourself. Not the good girl, not the rebel, the whole woman. Individuation is the brave, painful journey back to who you've always been. It means unlearning the habit of apologizing for feeling, unlearning to measure every word, unlearning to live as someone else's mirror. It means giving voice to the shadow, not as enemy, but as part of the self. It means welcoming anger, desire, fatigue, the right to say no. And, above all, building an inner world where love doesn't require perfection. This awakening doesn't arrive like a thunderclap. Sometimes it starts with a whispered no, with a small choice made just for you, with refusing to justify something that needs no defense. Slowly, she stops asking permission to exist. And in that quiet, revolutionary act, she begins to inhabit her own life. She'll still be kind, but not out of obligation. She'll still be empathetic, but with boundaries. The world may find this new self strange. It may criticize, pull away. It's not used to women with firm roots, but for the first time, she won't trade her center for connection. Because now, she belongs to herself. Being easy to love is not the same as being known. Being pleasant is not the same as being real. If you recognized yourself in this story, maybe you've already begun to wake up. And even if you don't know where to go next, there's one first step that changes everything. Stop apologizing for being whole, little by little. With courage and compassion, the girl who disappeared comes back to fit into others. but to finally live fully in herself and you. When did you feel you had to disappear to be loved? Share your story in the comments. It might be the mirror someone else needs.